so that it turned into depression. Like, I became so insecure that if I walked into a room, if people were laughing, talking, giggling, pointing, they just had to be talking about me. Something had to be wrong with me. It was no way. I just felt insecure. I was in this dark and lonely place and no one could reach me. I went on for about 2 or 3 months feeling this way. And I got to the point that I cried out to God. And I'm not talking about a hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, but I'm talking about snot running down my nose, tears running from my eyes. I had to get to God because something had to change in my life. I couldn't continue the way that I was going. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in a desperate situation where you cried out to God because you was like, God, if you don't come through right now, I don't know what's going to happen. God, I need for you to move in my situation. Apparel and the creator of the Live by Faith app. So if you have a smartphone, I would greatly appreciate you downloading the app. It is a free, inspirational app in which I promote life, business, and relationships God's way. And just for downloading the app, I do have free thank you gift bags for each and every person. All right. So how many of you are ready for the new year? Because we're just 2 weeks away from 2018. All right. By show of hands, do you by chance have a New Year's resolution? You do, amen? Now most people when they create them, they don't necessarily stick to them. But a New Year's resolution is just mainly when you've made up in your mind that you're gonna change some things about yourself. Whether that's personal, internal, perhaps your attitude, how you treat people, or external. Maybe you wanna start a business in 2018. Maybe you wanna switch careers in 2018. But a New Year's resolution is just which you have determined in your mind that you're going to change some things about yourself. But I believe before you make a New Year's resolution in 2018, you must reflect on what you went through in 2017. And guys, 2017 has been an emotional roller coaster for me. I've had some times in which I felt really good, like maybe like I was Michelle Obama, like I'm the first lady. And then I've had some moments in which I felt really dark and lonely. Like no one could reach me. Like no one could understand what I was going through. Like I was on an island by myself. But it's amazing that in those lonely and dark times that I learned the most about myself. Guys, I learned that I am an atmosphere changer. I learned that I must adjust accordingly to the situation. And last but not least, I learned that I must polish my crown. Do y'all mind if I share my 2017 with y'all? So how many of you have ever planned a wedding or been involved in wedding planning? All right, so you can perhaps relate to what I'm about to say. How is it that one of the most celebrated times in a woman's life is perhaps the most frustrating time as well? So this year I took the privilege of planning my own wedding, and now I do value the wedding planner. Like I got to the point that I just was ready to elope. Like I wanted to head to Vegas and do a Facebook Live and just tell my family, hey, we got married, we did the doggone thing. And I thought I was a simple bride. I'm the type of bride, if I told you to pick out white flowers for me, I didn't care how they looked. They just had to be white flowers. But to some people, I was laid back, an easy bride. To other people, I wasn't so much laid back and an easy bride to get along with. Throughout that entire situation ordeal, guess who was there the entire time? most patient person that I know now. When I got all out of line, he didn't yell at me or fuss at me. He just told me to calm down. When I got emotional and all up here, he brought me back down to earth. And I know that we all got things going on in life, but I'm gonna be honest about mine. At times, I could be quite impatient or easily frustrated. And I'm talking about if you're going 60 miles per hour in a fast lane, I'm yelling at you like you can hear me in my car. Or if I have to repeat myself more than twice and the conversation is over with, because apparently you don't care what I have to say. I shouldn't have to repeat myself more than twice. But in addition to that, I'm the type of person, like, I don't like going to sleep with frustration on my chest. I like to be vocal and let you know how I'm feeling. But I realized in those times that I was quite vocal, it affected my husband. I realized that everything that comes to mind doesn't necessarily need to be said. And I was like 20 minutes later, once I get things off my chest, I'm good. I'm ready to go eat, I'm ready to go kick it. What can we do? But it doesn't work like that. Sometimes we can voice our opinions and be very vocal to other people. It takes time for them to adjust. And I had to realize that in order for the situation to change, I had to change. I had to change the way I spoke. I had to change the way that I handled situations. I had to mature and realize that as a woman of God, that I am an atmosphere changer. And I think a lot of people, we take our frustrations out on our loved ones because they are easily there. But just because they take it doesn't mean it's right. Before you get home, perhaps you don't like your job. Perhaps you're having a bad day. But before you get home and fuss at your kids and take it out on your loved ones, do something to get that stress off your chest. Go to the gym, work out. Or if you need to go to an empty parking lot and just scream as loud as you can. But you have to realize that you set the atmosphere around you. And that could be good or bad. But that's up to you. So after that whole ordeal of planning a wedding, May 13th, 2017, I was able to marry the love of my life. Thank you. So, after the honeymoon, it was back to life. It was back in my new role as a new wife. And y'all, let me tell you, in the back of my mind, I was like, I got this down pat. Like, my grandmother and grandfather was the prime example of how to have a long-lasting marriage. They were married for 40 plus years, God rest their soul. But my grandmother, every day she would cook dinner for my grandfather, and I'm not talking about microwave dinners. I'm talking about dinners from scratch, like some cube steak, some homemade gravy, mashed potatoes in which we peel, cut, mash them up, and then string beans in which we had to actually string. On top of that, she would wash, dry, iron the clothes, and hang them up, and she made sure the house was taken care of. She was the queen of her domain. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I got this, baby. This is easy money. It's money in the bag. First 3 months of my marriage, I was going to the grocery store like every other day. My husband came home one day and I just had a moment. I was like, bro, I can't do this no more. Like, I just can't do this no more. So he's like, what are you talking about, baby? What's going on? I can't do this. I can't keep going to the grocery store every other day, cooking from scratch every night, working a full-time job, running my business, handling this for church, doing this for my mom. I can't do this. I'm just not cut out for this. He was like, babe, just calm down. I'm a little bit emotional. I'm a little bit drama queen at times. But being the calm one he is, he's like, babe, you act like there ain't no food in the refrigerator. You just act like, you know I can't cook, right? I'm like, yeah, babe, but I'm trying to do this thing like my grandmother. I'm trying to hold it down like her. But then it hit me. My grandmother was a full-time stay-at-home wife. What worked for her didn't work for me. I had to learn to adjust accordingly to my situation. And it's just like with some of us. We compare ourselves to other people's lives and we use them as an example. But what works for one person might not work for you. And what worked for you back then might not work for you now. I don't know if y'all ever been around someone you 6 years ago, is it going to work for you now? You ask any of these vendors over here, starting a business takes sacrifice. That money you spent on them Jordans should have been spent on starting your business. And you got a homegirl that's been talking about losing weight for 2 years now. But you ain't never seen her eat no salad. You ain't never seen her pick up a weight. She probably ain't joined the gym in 2 years. So what worked for her back in the day, our metabolism isn't the same as it is now. Back then you could eat whatever you want. Now we sitting up here counting calories, going vegan, vegetarian. You have to learn to adjust accordingly to your situation. So after my whole ordeal of not feeling like a good wife, I got caught up in social media. How many of y'all got a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, MySpace, whatever it is, you on social media? Okay then. So I'm usually on Facebook and Instagram. And last year I was speaking at an event and this young lady came up to me and was like, I really appreciate what you said. It really spoke to me where I was at in my life. And I was like, thank you. But when I got home, I was like, I'm feeling myself. I was like, yes, girl, what I said made a difference. But I started following her on social media. And then I was like, she's really boss. Like, I like her. She up here doing this thing. She handling her business. We associate with the same people. We're going to the same networking events. Like, I like her. So I started following her. And I began to admire her. But it's oddly enough that admiration turned into comparison. I began to compare myself to her. I began to compare my business to her business. The way she dressed to the way I dress. Her context, mine, it just got really weird. So much so that it turned into depression. Like, I became so insecure that if I walked into a room, if people were laughing, talking, giggling, pointing, they just had to be talking about me. Something had to be wrong with me. It was no way. I just felt insecure. I was in this dark and lonely place and no one could reach me. I went on for about 2 or 3 months feeling this way. And I got to the point that I cried out to God. And I'm not talking about a hallelujah, thank you, Jesus, but I'm talking about snot running down my nose, tears running from my eyes. I had to get to God because something had to change in my life. I couldn't continue the way that I was going. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in a desperate situation where you cried out to God because you was like, God, if you don't come through right now, I don't know what's going to happen. God, I need for you to move in my situation. I don't know if you ever had that moment, but baby, I was there. I was there in that moment, and God had to move. So when I prayed out to God that night, the beautiful thing about prayer is that it's communication between you and God. When you pray, God listens. And when God speaks, you listen. And I heard him clear that night. He said, you don't know the battle behind the crown. You don't know what other people go through. They may look like they got it all together on the outside, but baby, they are going through in the inside just like you. The beautiful thing about social media is I can post whatever I wanted to post. If I want to look like my life is rainbows and Skittles, then it's going to look like rainbows and Skittles. No one's up here posting that, hey, my marriage is going through, that I just lost my job, my car got repossessed. People up here are fronting on social media. And sometimes we get so caught up in the shiny and glitter of things, but just because it's glitter, baby, doesn't mean it's gold. It can be gold plated and rust. And some of us are chasing after the illusion and chasing after the image of things, but baby, they ain't real. Stuff of pure gold, of pure substance, it's not gonna rust. You just gotta polish it from time to time. And God told me my crown shines just as bright as the other woman. You just gotta polish it from time to time. And some of us get so caught up on what other people are doing that we just need to polish our crown. We just need to work on us. And for some of us, it's not even a matter of polishing our crown. We've just taken the crown off altogether. We've got tired of fighting. We've got tired of going through. We just got tired of life and just taking it off altogether. But the beautiful thing about it is, people know a king or a queen by their crown. People can rightfully identify you by your crown. So baby, pick up your crown. You are a king. You are a queen. And you shine bright. So whatever the darkness the enemy has you in, polish your crown, baby girl, because it shines bright. And the very thing that I've went through has inspired me to start a women's conference entitled Polish Your Crown. Because we all can appear as if we got it all together on the outside. But some of us, we are hurting on the inside. Some of us, it takes a lot just to get out of bed. We're putting up on makeup in front of so many people. But in the inside, we're just about to break down. And we're about to have that moment. We're like, God, I need for you to do something. God, I need for you to move. I need for you to speak through someone today. Because if I don't hear from you, I don't know what's going to happen. So if you can relate to anything that I've said today, then I encourage you to be at Polish Your Crown Women's Conference. So before you go into 2018, I encourage you to reflect on your 2017 and to think about what you need to change. Do you need to polish your crown? Do you need to learn to adjust according to the situation? And are you an atmosphere changer? I thank you so much for your time. If you want to know more information about me or the Polish Your Crowns Women's Conference, my table is right over here to the side. I thank you, Leslie, so much for this opportunity. God bless everyone and have a great Saturday.